All right. I
We
think
had
Sarah enjoys more time in there with the chat with you guys than Megan.
we had the WB, and he's like, "Where are my troublemakers?" I'm like, "Well, Peugeot's not here.
Oh,
Specs
he
isn't
was
here.
here earlier.
Yeah, he is now." But I was
Oh,
like, "These I haven't seen these people in a while," and then they're all popping in. I think the only person I haven't seen is Specs.
all right. So this week, I wanted to talk about, as you can tell from the title, how to make changes to a priority queue order or even a scheduled order. We're going to talk about both scenarios. So what's going to happen, and we're going to see this happen here in the near future. We actually had it already happen to some priority twos. Can you make changes to a priority two? Because you're going to have some of you are going to be a carryover order from 23 to 24, and you decide, I want to make a change to my order, but my dealer said that I can't make changes because it's already priority two and they cannot make changes to my order. So that's actually another, is it true? But yes, you can make changes to a priority to order. Here is how you do that. You realize you're keep.
I know because I have to
It's your phone.
use my phone.
Anyway, so here is how you make changes to a priority two. So pretty easy. If it's an O2, they are locked. You're not able to make changes. So the first thing the dealer needs to do is change that priority from an O2 to anywhere from a 3 to a 19. They may have to hit submit after they've done that to make the changes. But if they change it to anywhere from a 3 to 19, then they can make any changes they want to the order, including the body code at this point. We'll talk about that in a second and why you may want to watch that too much later. Once they make those changes, then they hit submit. At that point, the order has been submitted with those changes with the new priority. So you have kicked it out of the O2 priority. So then the other question is, how do I get it back to O2 then? It was an O2 one time. Can I get it or do I lose it? Yes, you can. So what you need to do is the dealer needs to email the inventory and sales specialist and let them know that changes need to be made to that order. So they took it out of O2, but it needs to be put back to O2 status. We just did this Monday. We just did this yesterday. It was just yesterday. We did it yesterday, made some changes to 4 different orders, made those changes, emailed them over. The dealer will need to give them the order number, the body code, as well as the last name of the customer. That's usually all they need, and they will make it. They will flip it back to O2. So that's as easy as it is. It's 3 steps. 3 steps. Change the priority from 2 to 3, whatever you want. Make your changes, hit submit, email your inventory and specialist with that information, order number, body code, last name. Let them know that it was an O2 order they made changes to. Can you flip it back to O2? Within 24 hours, usually, they have made that change for you. So they submit it over to the field team and they make those changes. Pretty easy. Couple things, though, to keep in mind. Now, I'll always remember that if you make changes to the body code, like right now, this year, the trim as well as the motor dictates the body codes. They have 8 body codes this year instead of just 3. If you make changes to a body code and there's been a price increase, that will affect whether or not you're price protected, for one. The other is you'll need to do COVP paperwork again. So if you change from, let's say you have an XLT front wheel drive and you change to an XLT all wheel drive, that's a different body code. Your dealer will need to resubmit COVP paperwork for you because it's based on the body code with COVP approval. That's what they're going to look at. We actually had that happen when they were going to cancel orders, and they almost canceled 10 of our orders because they had switched the body code and we didn't know we need to re-COVP the paperwork. So that's something to keep in mind, as well as if there's a price increase, like last year we did see a price increase. If you change the body code, it will not lock in that. I think that's one of the reasons why Ford made 8 body codes this year. So if somebody changes the trim or they change the front wheel drive, all-wheel drive, that's going to take away the ability for them to lock in that price protection. So keep that in mind as well when you're making those changes. My common thing is figure out what you want to do now, make it now early in the process, figure out what you want, and just keep to it. Now, can you make changes to an order that gets scheduled? So let's say this week, we're going to have 22 orders scheduled this week. And let's say you want to change the color or you want to change something else. Can it be changed after it gets scheduled? Yes, it can. Dealers will probably tell you, I can't make changes. It got scheduled. I've been told we can't make changes to those. I can tell you now, I've done it a lot of times, and it can be done. Now, I will tell you, based on what you want to change, how easy it is. So if it's as simple as a color change or maybe an option, maybe you're like, well, I wanted that hitch on there and I didn't get it put on there. Little standalone options, colors, those are changes that can easily be made, and usually they will accept it. Now, what a dealer has to do is you make the changes, you resubmit it, and it'll tell you that the field team or the factory, they need to okay the amendment. So you usually got to wait 24 hours and find out if they accepted it. Once they process the amendment and whether or not they did it, then you look the order up and you see if that was changed on the order. If it's there, then the change went through and was successfully changed. Now, I will tell you this. There are some things that can't be changed, though. And I will also tell you this. If your order schedules on Thursday, you can't make changes the day it schedules. You'll have to wait till Friday. So that's also something to keep in mind. But also, things like color, standalone options, those are easy to change. But if you're wanting to change a body code, so let's say it schedules, you're like, you know what, I wanted XLT instead of XL. Too late, because the VIN number is based on a lot of different things. So there's some digits in there. The 5th, 6th, and 7th digit is your body code of the VIN number. That is tied to your body code. That is your trim and your motor. So by changing from an XL to an XLT, that changes your body code. That VIN number is no longer valid. So they will not let you make changes to anything that the VIN number is dedicated. So motor also is the digit right after that is your motor. A 3 is hybrid, and 9 is an EcoBoost. That also is part of that VIN number. So it's dedicated to that VIN number. So if you try to do that, then they will not allow that change either. So keep that in mind. Packages, they're kind of up in the air. So you have to you submit it, and then they either accept it or they don't. You can always try. If you try to make it and they don't give it to you, they don't kick the order. They don't get rid of the order. They won't cancel the order. They just won't let you change the order, if that makes sense. That is an option. Now, I will tell you this as a reminder that if they do select your order, they're selecting it based on the configuration of your order. So let's say you had a order without the luxury package. They selected yours because it didn't have the luxury package, probably. So if you go and then try to add it, they may accept the changes, but they probably will push your build date out, and they might move it back. So that is something else to keep in mind as well. So making some of those significant changes like that could affect, if they do accept it, could affect when it gets built. So there you go. So can changes be made on a priority 2 and a scheduled order? Yes, they can. On those scheduled orders, they don't have to accept them, but you can try to make those changes. On a priority 2, you just have to do a little bit, change in the party code, make your changes, then submit it, and then the dealer has to email the sales and inventory manager to get it back to a priority 2. Otherwise, it'll stay there. It might go to O2 eventually on its own, but we don't take the chance. We go ahead and make sure it gets that done. So there you go. And I know that's going to come up a lot. So we're covering it here. So episode 106, I think this is where we talked about this. We'll have to remember that so that we can tell people, go check out episode 106.
I'm not going to remember that.
I won't either. I did cover this last year. I feel like we're getting some redundancy in these episodes. Some of you that have stuck with us this entire time, you already know. I covered that already in the past. It's been there, done that, because in 2022 model year, a dealer got an allocation based on their orders. And then once they gave the dealer an allocation based on that order, they gave that order priority 2. Then you knew that you've already earned an allocation based on that order, whether it got scheduled or not. So they did that a lot in 2022 model year. So we had a lot of this happening. So a couple of years ago, we had to deal with this. So.